Welcome to the news on Zodiac. With me, Sibongile Ziambo, the headlines. President Chakwera says Malawi is ready to contribute to the regional military force to be deployed in Mozambique. Parliament refers to committees 3 petitions from members of the public. MEC to meet electoral stakeholders on Sunday ahead of the next week's by-elections. And in sports, Malawi Olympic Committee says it will stick to the current format of allowing local athletes to participate in Olympic certified deals. Now the news in detail. President Lazarus Chakwera says Malawi is prepared to contribute to the regional military force to be deployed in Mozambique to help combat terrorist attacks in Cabo Delgado province. He spoke on arrival from Mozambique, where he attended the 40th Zodiak Summit of Heads of State, where a resolution to adopt a military force was passed. The meeting also tackled issues of regional food and nutrition, regional integration, cooperation and development. Chimwe has filed this report.
President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera has just arrived from Maputo, Mozambique, where he was attending the 14th Summit of Heads of State of Zodiak. The summit took place amid an uproar that Mozambique should make a decision to deploy militants in the Cabo Delgado province, which is found in the northern part of Mozambique. But a decision has now been adopted at this summit that the regional bloc should now deploy militants to Mozambique. But the president for Mozambique, Filipe Nyusi, has been reluctant to adopt this decision. But the heads of state have now adopted this decision, and the president, Dr. Lazarus Chakwera, said upon arrival from Mozambique that Malawi is still configuring the number of soldiers that would form part of this regional military bloc, as well as making sure that Malawi is thoroughly prepared for this exercise that will take place now that the member states are supposed to deploy militants to Mozambique. We understand that Cabo Delgado is one of the provinces that is facing attacks, beheadings, as well as conflicts that has displaced close to 800 people, and 3,000 people have so far been killed. The conference was ignited in around 2010, where after the discovery of natural gas, and now the conflict has raised concerns that it might spill over to neighboring countries such as Malawi, and a decision has now been made. Another thing that the president has also mentioned on his arrival, he did say that Malawi should use the forthcoming Zodiak meeting that is expected to take place in August, where he will also assume chairmanship of the regional bloc, to use this platform to sell itself to regional members in Zodiak, to boost the tourism industry in trade, making sure that Malawi is wooing investors, that Malawi can also boost its economy in Malawi can also boost its economy in the tourism sector, as well as different sectors and trade, talking about trade in other areas. And now the president has just left Kamuzu International Airport, where he has arrived at around 11 a.m. today. From Kamuzu International Airport in Lilongwe, this is Chimwemwe Badata.
Parliament on Thursday referred to its relevant committees 3 petitions from members of the public who are demanding for its intervention on matters affecting them. The petitions include one from Malawi College of Health Sciences students who are pushing for law amendment for them to start accessing higher education loans. This report filed by Winston Kaimira.
First to present a petition to the House was Parliamentarian for Neno North constituency, Tokotembo. It was one from Mwanza Neno Tsangano Road Advocacy Group, in which it wants government to urgently upgrade the 140-kilometer road to a tarmac. In the petition, signed by chairperson for the advocacy group, Robert Ngayaye, the citizens demand government to allocate necessary finances to have the whole road upgraded, not only a few kilometers. Another petition was from Majinga Jingali Lirangwe Road Task Force, which was presented to the House by Nzimba North MP Yeremia Chihana. The task force also wants the road to be upgraded to a tarmac. Deputy Minister of Transport and Public Works, Nancy Chaulandoko, said upgrading works of the 2 roads are already among the priority infrastructure projects which the current government wants to implement as soon as possible. The House has since referred the 2 petitions to its committee on transport and public infrastructure. A third petition was from students from Malawi College of Health Sciences. In the petition presented to the House by Cholo North legislator Ephraim Naeja, the students want Parliament to amend laws to include students from the college on the list of those eligible to access higher education loans. The petition has also been referred to relevant committees for scrutiny. The House has since been adjourned to Friday. This is Winston Kaimira reporting for Zodiak.
Human Rights Consultative Committee has called for Tonselan's government to revisit its campaign promise of creating 1 million jobs, saying with the current economic situation in the country, it is not possible to achieve the feat within the specified period. The committee's board chair, Robert Mkwezalamba, made the remarks at a press briefing in Lilongwe, where they were reviewing key attainments of Tonse government as the Chakwera-led administration clocks 1 year in office. HRCC, however, commended government for undertaking some developmental programs which are in line with some of the campaign promises. Mkwezalamba explains in this interview.
You need to clear the ground. You need to set up structures on the ground to be able to absorb and create more jobs. The Tonse administration has had more than 8 months trying to settle down, and they are just settling down, if we are to be fair, in terms of objective analysis. Now, in that regard, jobs are being created, but you realize majority of the jobs are from the previous administration projects and programs that were rolling out. The jobs for youth, the internship programs, the construction projects that are taking place may not have been initiated by the current administration. However, they have started rolling out their own programs, and you may not 100% be able to get the 1 million jobs in the remaining or the past gone 12 months. So we are saying realistic figures have to be drawn down. As a nation, we need to accept to say perhaps we had set the bar too far for ourselves. Let's set realistic targets that we can achieve, not maybe in 1 year, but at least 2 to 3 years from now, and then review the last year of administration. So to be fair, between 200 days may not have been initiated by the current administration. However, they have started rolling out their own programs, and you may not 100% be able to get the 1 million jobs in the remaining or the past gone 12 months. So we are saying realistic figures have to be drawn down. As a nation, we need to accept to say perhaps we had set the bar too far for ourselves. Let's set realistic targets that we can achieve, not maybe in 1 year, but at least 2 to 3 years from now, and then review the last year of administration. So to be fair, between 200,000 jobs to around 300 jobs should be attainable if all the fundamentals that have been put in place can be sustained in this new year that they are in.
In 1 year after Dr. Lazarus Chakwera assumed the office of president, Malawians are giving their assessment on how the Tonse-led government has performed. Commentators say the 1 year has been a mixed bag and want Chakwera to be decisive and responsive if the change he promised is to happen. We went to the streets to get views of some Malawians.
Pano bazintu studies kwenda bwino ya. Chambire ndibe boma mene linasintira zambi sizi kwenda bwino. Zinthu zikukwera kumonga ngati mbali ifemu ngati ogyenchiro zamanja zambi sizi kwenda tikumapanga zinthu yosiyana kuti mlake titi kusinda miyo yathu kumasema zinthu kuti zigudwe zikumatenga nthawi ena kuza kutenga kumakuti ati pasino drama pakumavuta pang'ono timaona kuti sizi kwenda muno bwino tikafusa bwanja ha ina background spali bwino yanja zosiyana ndi kumadandala kuti apa zinthu timati mna mwe zinthu zisinda kumapande zaonjezano sopambusiyana ni boma mwina limbuyo mucha
muna chimene mungakonde chita machitika ndi chane kwenu
mwina apapata limina ngati umbali ngati ya ngongolicha akadakhaza kuti anatilonjeza zoti ationjezera akayimene chayabwera fo apapa kunoko ndi sindikuziwa ngati anthu akulandira chira ndi nthawi ya boma loyamba lijali kachiwira imene yomwe inabwera mati nifu sili kulandira sili mvasi kuti mwina anthu kulembesa kwakuti kapena kulembesa kwakuti atakazo kuti mwina nyamata fi atiganiza ngongole ngati zimene zija ndoti mashopo athu atasi kumarani khala mwina ati ndi peza mwina mpamba kuti tikhoza magula ya malawa mbirimbiri ngati feyo makalipenta kumapanga zinthu zoti tikhoza kumazisiya pa display anthu kumaziona kumatha kumagulitsa muno bwino
apapa business yathu ayikwenda mmene makhalira nthawi zonse ine zanga zikwenda bwino komanso zikungotengera aliyense nkulimbikira kwake kuti aone kuti ndimene nyengo zilili basi kulimbikiraso kuyenera kuti kukhalepo osati kuti tisire boma lokha kuti tinene kuti boma komano aliyense ndi malinga nkulimbikira kwake fa olosezingakuyendere bwino munthu kuti angogona uli pakwana koma zikufunikabe kuti kudzuka basi kulimbikira kuthandizana ndi boma kuti zinthu ziyende bwino. Malangizo anga ngakhala kuti aliyense akuyenera kuti alimbikire sikuti fotolo nyengo zasintha kazatani uyenera kuti ugwempha ayi aliyense achilimikebe ayimebe momwe amayimira masiku onse kuti nyengo zake zisasinthe zikhale chimozimozi.
Kuona kuti no vuto ndingakhale utani kumangodalira boma lokha.
Vuto limene kuti dalire boma lokha zitidzetsa umphawi chifukwa boma silingamati yese sima makomo tikuyeneranso tokha tidzuke tiyimenso ngati anthu kuti tilimbikire ntchito tigwirane manja ndi bomalo kuti zinthu ziyende bwino koma boma kuti lisiye lokha tiona ngati zinthu sizili bwino.
Minister of Education has challenged institutions of higher learning in the country to be relevant by finding solutions to the problems people in the society are facing and addressing their needs. Speaking in Mangochi Thursday during a second International Conference on Higher Education, Deputy Minister responsible Mandasakambao Widima said higher education are irrelevant if their outputs does not address issues affecting the humanity. Referee Mlozo filed this report.
Mwezi wa February chaka chino unduna wa zamaphunziro unathandizira kuti sukulu zina zilembe ntchito aphunzitsi ongogwirizira omwe ndopo. In February this year, the Ministry of Education facilitated the recruitment of over 3,000 auxiliary teachers in primary schools that were hired by individual school management committees. The teachers were hired as part of the move to decongest pupils in classrooms amid COVID-19 scare and were given a 5-month contract which will end this month end. Now government has announced that their contracts will be extended by 2 months to end in August 2021, according to the Ministry of Education spokesperson Chikondi Chimala. However, Chimala failed to disclose the future of the teachers after expiry of the contract. Meanwhile, Teachers Union of Malawi President William Malimba said with COVID-19 cases rising.
We apologize for that poor report, but moving on with the news, Church and Society program of the CCP Livingstone Synod has called for the introduction of the sanitation and hygiene lessons in primary and secondary schools. Executive Director for the organization, Moses Mkandawire, says this would help address the problem of poor waste management in the country. Tawera Kumwenda has more.
Deputy Mayor from Zuzu City Council Gift Nyenda says failure by citizens to properly dispose of waste is one issue that has affected operations of the council in dealing with sanitation problems.
That is a huge challenge to us. Some people can just think of disposing anywhere, anytime, the way they think.
Speaking when a consortium of civil society organizations dubbed Find Your Feet, Church and Society, and Voice of Livingstonia donated various materials to councillors in Zuzu, the consortium's representative Moses Mkandawire says for sanitation and hygiene to be achieved in the city, there is need to introduce lessons that will be taught at grassroots level. Mkandawire says there is need to include in the school curriculum sanitation and hygiene lessons.
Why don't we, ensure that we inculcate the culture of promoting cleanliness rather, starting from, a 3-year-old child, 5-year-old child, 10-year-old child. And we can only do that through the education sector. If we have a proper curriculum, we have proper teaching, mentoring our children, definitely we're going to have a better, environment.
Mkandawire further asked private companies to take a role in assisting councils improve on sanitation. National Bank of Malawi Zuzu Service Center Manager Samson Mzungu has acknowledged the role private entities are playing in bringing change, but was quick to say that people should take the necessary steps in practicing sanitation and hygiene. For Zodiak in Zuzu, I'm Toera Kumwenda.
You're watching news on Zodiac. We'll be right back. Stand by.
Tipolole kungonjezera mayunitsi atiyene kuyambira 200 kwacha kapena kuposera pamenepo mutha kukhala mmodzi mwa mamilioneya mu TNM Tipolole promotion. koma mukaonjezera ma units ndi 100 kwacha kapena kuposerapo mudzilandira ma bonus oyimbira foni, SMS kapena data pompo.
TNM, always with you.
If there's one thing that all soaps do, it's wash. From buckets to basins, bathrooms to streams, and everything in between.
All soaps wash.
Yes, but Protex is different. Its reinvented formula with flaxseed oil boosts your skin's natural anti-germ defenses by 10 times more, protecting you against 99.9% of germs. So what keeps us healthy?
Protex!
Good health starts here.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at the top stories as we continue the news. President Chakwera says Malawi is ready to contribute to the regional military force to be deployed in Mozambique. Parliament refers to committee's 3 petitions from members of the public. And MEC to meet electoral stakeholders in Sanje ahead of next week's by-elections. In sports news, Malawi Olympic Committee says it will stick to the current format of allowing local athletes to participate in Olympic certified tournaments. Moving on with the news, the Malawi Electoral Commission MEC says it will meet electoral stakeholders in Sanje on Friday to try to find solutions to the problem of voter apathy ahead of next week's Sanje Lalanje by-elections. MEC Commissioner Karin Fune said this on Thursday after meeting some electoral stakeholders where he urged them to ensure free, fair and credible by-elections on June 29. Sanje Lalanje ward by-elections have been marred by high apathy with few people going for voter registration and verification exercises. Alfred Guta reports.
MEC Commissioner Caroline Mfune says the electoral body expects nothing short of a free, fair and credible by-election in Sanje Lalanje ward. Mfune quoted electoral stakeholders in Sanje Thursday ahead of local government by-election slated for June 29, 2021. The MEC Commissioner further disclosed that the electoral body will meet Friday to discuss solutions to various challenges, including voter apathy during local government by-elections.
An election is done in a fair, free, credible and secure manner. And as you all know that the Malawi Electoral Commission is mandated to give civic and voter education. It's an endless process, so that if there is any complaint or problem, even the stakeholders should get assured that MEC is here to work with them without any problems.
Sanje District Commissioner Dr. Milson Machaya says as a returning officer, he will ensure total adherence to MEC set guidelines.
My biggest thing that I have to do now is to ensure that I link up with our MEC, that we get the necessary support that is needed to ensure that all this is done in the manner that I've said.
On June 29, MEC will administer parliamentary by-election in Karabe Central and local government by-elections in Sanje Lalanje ward and Chikumberi ward in Blantyre. For Zodiak in the Lower Shire district of Nsanje, this is Alfred Kuta reporting.
Guardians at Salima District Hospital have complained of food shortages at the facility, claiming that the hospital just serves them with a single meal a day. One of the guardians who spoke to Zodiac on Wednesday called upon stakeholders to immediately intervene. Meanwhile, a matron at the facility, Janani Mawindo, has admitted the food shortage, saying that the facility is going through a myriad of challenges. We now go to sports news. Malawi Olympic Committee says it will stick to the current format of allowing local athletes to participate in Olympic certified tournaments, as it has proved to be key in the improvement of Olympic sports in the country. MOC General Secretary Captain John Kaputa made the remarks as a number of local athletes are on the verge of qualifying for Olympic Games for the first time in history. The committee adopted a new format where athletes had an opportunity to participate in qualifiers to book a place at the forthcoming 2020 Olympic Games slated for July in Japan. Brett Kanyama's mom.
Some local athletes are on the verge of breaking an unwanted record for the country as they are eyeing for a spot at the next month's Olympic Games set to take place in Japan's city of Tokyo. Among other athletes, archer Alineo David, judoka Harriet Boniface, and runner Asmenyi Simwaga are in pole positions to qualify for the Olympic Games if they can produce good performances in their respective set of competitions later this month. This, according to Malawi Olympic Committee General Secretary Captain John Kaputa, retired, is an improvement which has been spiked by good preparations. He attributed the same to the format they adopted in the qualifiers, where local athletes were kept under strict surveillance, with others offered scholarships outside the country.
We think we did not make a mistake in giving chances to the athletes to do qualification competitions. Their level of performance, their current record is indicating there's a bright future if we go ahead with those arrangements in partnership with associations concerned.
Malawi has never sent an athlete to Olympics on qualification, but rather on solidarity. The delayed 2020 Olympic Games are expected to start on 23 July to 8 August 2021 in Japan. The International Olympic Committee IOC confirmed on Monday, with over 11,091 athletes expected to compete in over 50 sports disciplines. For Zodiac, this is Bright Kanyama.
And that's about what we had time for in this edition of news. And before we go, a look at the headlines. President Chakwera says Malawi is ready to contribute to the regional military force to be deployed in Mozambique. Parliament refers to committee's 3 petitions from members of the public. And MEC to meet electoral stakeholders in Sanje ahead of the next week's by-elections. In sports news, Malawi Olympic Committee says it will stick to the current format of allowing local athletes to participate in Olympic certified tournaments. Visit our website zodiacmalawi.com for more news. This is Sibongile Siambo. Goodbye.
At Access, we believe that data is life because we know that